was fine. They were afraid of turbulence, so they basically, so the people in coach didn't get any service.
Good morning. Good morning. Let me try that again. Good morning. Wow. Good morning. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. We're going to circle back around on election of chair, but we're going to get started, and I'm going to chair until Mr. Banks gets here, and then we can do the election of the chair. My name is Councilwoman Ortiz. Welcome to the January 31st Public Infrastructure Meeting. If my colleagues would like to introduce themselves, that'd be great.
Neil Dobler, District 7.
Michelle Hofer, District 9.
Thank you, and thank you, Michelle, for sitting at the table with us. It's awesome. I don't think we have anybody online. Okay. I know this isn't on the agenda, but I do really want to tell our street department, thank you, thank you, thank you. Braxton, thank you for the team and the effort of all the snow. And I can't remember your name, but Steve, I just want to say thank you. You guys did a remarkable job, and it was just one of those things that we had to deal with, so thank you. Would you like to say something?
I was just really proud of our whole team, Tony, Todd, all their supervisors, Brian and the fleet staff. It was pretty amazing. Once you'll hear more in my briefing next Tuesday night at the governing board meeting, but the amount of miles and material and the hours that they work, it was, they just did an outstanding job, and I couldn't be prouder of them.
Appreciate that. Okay, City Manager, would you like to say anything before we get started?
Thank you. Just want to echo Steve's comments, and we appreciate all the support that we got from City Council as well as from the public. We actually did get a lot of support from the public throughout this event, and it was just amazing being out with going out to the teams with the teams. You know, I think that not only were the teams very proactive, but also very responsive. I know that each of you were probably getting a lot of calls, and I know I probably only saw a fraction of them. But again, the responsiveness, in addition to the proactive work, it was just it was an amazing feat what the team pulled off. So thank you all.
Welcome to Kansas. All right, let's go. Approval. Let's skip the minutes too. Let's just go right into action items. We'll do that. Action items 4A.
Madam Chair, Deputy Director Jason Tryon will handle this item. It is an amendment to the existing project relative to the TPAC.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. So what you have in front of you is an amendment to a CIP project. So originally it was approved to allocate funds to TPAC for some capital improvement projects that they would make for their facility under the supervision of the city. Previously, we had authorized, or this body had authorized, $100,000 of the project to be pulled up into 2024 from the later years of the project in order to do some design on what are going to be the most cost-effective and feasible options for that construction. Those items have now been completed, and we are coming to this body for approval for the renovations that will take place. So I can speak to the construction of what's going to happen, and we have some representatives from TPAC here to talk about what the changes are, why they've selected them for the facility, and how it will impact their operations. But essentially what we are asking for today would be to pull up funds from 2026 and 2027 into 2025 so that some of these renovations can be made right now. So the renovations that are proposed are to the basement and first floor. The reason why we are seeking to pursue those renovations now is because those rooms are already under construction as part of the HVAC project. So if you were to walk into those rooms right now, you would see a lot of exposed ductwork, a lot of exposed pipes, and a lot of exposed ceiling. So while we have those areas exposed and are already doing those renovations, what they have proposed is that we use the existing construction team on site to install some new lighting upgrades, add some power while the walls are exposed, and then also upgrade some finishes to some of the ancillary rooms around the first floor, which will allow them to offer some additional serving locations and hopefully open up some additional revenue sources, which I'll let them speak to. So in terms of the total project timeline, with approval, we have them ready to start adding these upgrades as soon as this body and the full governing body gives approval. We do estimate this would add about 3 or 4 months to the total timeline of the TPAC improvements that are happening to the HVAC. So this would push the completion of the TPAC upgrades out into likely end of summer and into fall, because we think this will add about 3 or 4 months worth of additional scope of work to the construction.
Okay.
Advancing the funding, like we can absorb within our CIP.
Correct. So these funds were previously approved for the out years, 2025, 2026, and partially 2027. So we would simply be moving those funds up into 2025 and then pausing in 2026 and spending less dollars in 2027, with the 2028 and 2029 funds still there for later improvements as they deem necessary, and we would bring back before this body.
All right. Are there any questions? Do my colleagues have any questions? Councilman Dobler.
Thank you. I have some HVAC questions for Mr. Duncan. No, I'm just kidding.
As a lawyer, I generate a lot of hot air, but very little cold air. Is that what you want to know?
That's pretty much it. Thank you, Mr. Duncan.
Okay.
No question.
Any other questions? If not, we will hear from board members that wanted to present.
Why don't you?
Absolutely.
We hired a guy to talk.
No, I would love to have the board members talk as well. Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Dan Kays. I'm the new executive director. I've been here since October. I've been trying to get caught up very quickly on all the activity that's been happening at TPAC, but also trying to get us in a forward motion and helping us bring a lot more programming into your venue, into the city venue, into the downtown area. The project that you see before you was already in existence before I got here, and I am absolutely 100% on board with it. What we're doing is we're modernizing the building. We are putting the infrastructure in the walls that will allow us more capacity to help out when we got clientele that come into the building and they need extra hookups, IT hookups, computer hookups. As you see in this room, you have presentation materials that are in the ceiling. Our venue, we don't have drop-down ceilings. We have that hard plaster ceiling. And so for us to be able to do what you see in this room today, it takes basically removing the ceiling to get it done or making gigantic holes. Well, now the ceilings are all exposed, and so this is a perfect opportunity to get the data cables and the conduit in the walls to be able to do that kind of stuff and make our facility as useful and presentational as this facility that we're in this room today. We're also looking at doing some finish upgrades. We have a VIP room that if you've been a friend of TPAC, you've in the past have had a reception in there. We look to make a more permanent home for an area for reception activities. So a really nice little area, food area with a hand wash sink, some cooler capability, and then we can be able to bring in some multimedia into that room as well, because there's not the capabilities of multimedia in that room, and making it a much more useful and more upgraded conference room. The other things we're doing is improving the lighting. While we have the ceilings down, we are going to an LED, or like to go to LED lighting. Not only does that save energy and save energy costs, but it also allows us to create theatricality in a room with those LED lights. We can actually change colors, and we have control of every individual one of those lights to be able to, in the banquet hall, you have a wedding, they come in, they've got a color palette, we can match the color palette with the lighting in the room. So it gives us that kind of capability as well. So those are the things that we're doing while the things are exposed, and we hope to have that support. There are 2 alternates in this proposal. The alternates are adding 2 box office locations out in that front foyer entrance area. That allows us to improve more security to the building. Currently, in order for you to buy a ticket, you have to come for a concert, especially for a concert that has a high-end artist. You have to come past security to get to the box office to buy your ticket and then come into the venue, versus having that capability outside of security, so the person can buy a ticket and doesn't necessarily have to go through security to do that. So it enhances the security of the building. And then the other one is adding those same LED lighting components into the black box space. The black box space has theatricality in it because of the pipes that are in there. We can hang theatrical lights. But with the project, we're removing a wall and making the black box space bigger. And if we didn't have an event that could afford hanging a lighting plot up there, we could have the capability of creating some theatricality in that room with that alternative as well. So those are the two alternative projects that would increase the cost. But the base cost is hopefully landing in what you guys have already kind of discussed back in April.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I will make a motion for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 2-0. All right. Thank you and good luck. B.
Madam Chair, the next 8 items will be handled by Public Works Director Steve Groen.
Okay. Steve?
Good morning, Madam Chair. This first project is a signal replacement project at Southwest 21st Street and Belle Avenue. It's part of our 2024 traffic signal replacement program. This particular traffic signal was constructed in 1984. It's past its useful life. We're looking to use geo-bonding to pay for this project. Cost should be $528,475.
Okay. Are there any questions? Councilman Dobler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You may not be able to answer this, maybe Braxton can. Used to be a continuous flow on 21st Street. I don't know exactly what the engineering term is, but the signals were tied together somehow. Is that still the case, or are we struggling with that?
I'll get back to you. I don't think that 21st Street is coordinated. Topeka Boulevard and Wanamaker they're part of the NSYNC system, but I don't think that 21st is. I will verify that.
I thought there was a period of time when from Fairlawn to Wanamaker was.
There you go.
Okay.
Introduce yourself.
Yes, 21st is, I'm Joe Harrington, project manager.
Yeah,
engineering. 21st is at NSYNC corridor by Rhythm
Okay.
Engineering, and it's from Fairlawn to Wanamaker. So
Okay.
it is all in sync.
Okay. Just curious about that. Thank you very much.
Are there any more questions? If not, I'll take a motion from the floor.
I'll make that motion.
It's been moved. I'll second it. All in favor, raise your right hand. 2-0. And we'll move to C, Southwest Fairlawn Road.
Madam Chair, there are 5
Steve?
project numbers associated with this project. It's street construction, water, sanitary, and stormwater construction. Project goes from 23rd Street to 28th Street. It'll consist of road widening at 25th Street at Fairlawn, and also to add some dedicated left turn lanes and some widening there, and some traffic signal improvements. The majority of the project will be a mill and overlay, but there will be some full depth patching. We're going to be doing some bridge approach work, deck patching, polymer overlays, but there will be quite a bit of utility work, mainly from 23rd Street down to 25th Street. If you have any specific questions on the utility work, Sylvia and Nicole are both here.
Are there any questions? Michelle? It's been moved by Councilman Dobler, seconded by myself. Councilman,
I just want to find out, I take it this has not been bid yet,
Correct.
but what's the timeframe?
Madam Chair, it's a 2-year project.
But are we starting this year,
Yes, ma'am.
summer? I'm just trying to get an idea, if anybody asks me, they start seeing signs.
So we have had the public engagement meeting, and we're probably looking at 2 to 3 months realistically to get started in construction after we get this out to bid. And as you know, the real driver of this is the failing corrugated metal pipe underneath Fairlawn that we've had a couple of failures on that required some emergency repair work.
Okay. So hopefully by summer, this will be under construction, and then we'll go straight through winter into next year.
Possibly. We're also entertaining the idea of maybe picking up our traffic control and taking a break during January and February. Some of those finer details with phasing still are in discussion right now. So they're finishing up the water line plan.
Okay, I'm asking now because I know we'll get the chance to ask when we get to city council meeting to ask some of those questions. And people are always asking, since I live out kind of that direction, what's going on, and I like to know. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. And as always, feel free to reach out to staff, not just here, but if you need to. Okay? All right. There's a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, it's 2-0. D, Southwest Harrison Street, 10th Avenue to 8th Avenue, pavement rehabilitation.
Madam Chair, this project is related to the new docking building. The portion between 9th and 10th Street will be a joint project between the city and the state of Kansas. Will be a 50-50 cost share, up to $400,000 for the state. The section from 9th Street to 8th Street will be a city project. It'll be a mill and overlay covered by the city half-cent sales tax. We had our first pre-bid meeting yesterday. We're hoping to get this project out for bids in the coming weeks. The plan is to, upon approval by the governing board, to get this project completed prior to the opening of the docking building on June 1st.
Are there any questions?
Move approval.
Second, all those in favor, raise your right hand. 2-0. Number 4E, microsurfacing.
Madam Chair, this project is part of our 2025 Street Preservation Maintenance Program funded by the city half-cent sales tax. This here will be the southwest quadrant of the city. There's a base bid and 2 alternates depending on how funding comes. We're looking for your approval to get this out for bids.
Okay, are there any questions?
Move approval.
Second, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. 4F.
Madam Chair, this is our 2025 UBAS project on ultra-thin bonded asphalt surface. We have a number of segments identified. This is also part of our 2025 Street Contract Preventive Maintenance Program funded by the half-cent sales tax.
I see Southeast 6th on here. Is that on Branner from Southeast 6th from Branner to Golden?
That's correct.
Braxton, can you tell me if this is going to hit 6th and Golden, that intersection? Or does it, does that include the intersection? Can somebody tell me that?
Actually, the intersection that we have a different project that's in design right now. It's a 2-year project that is going to be from Golden to Rice. And that is going to be panel replacement, full depth patching. That's where we have all those failed joints. And then it will have a overlay. So that is a separate project. What we're going to do is the portion of 6 that this is going to do, this is just the UBAS, ultra thin bonded asphaltic surface. The pavement condition is such that we can go in and do the UBAS and extend the life of that. So then we will have an entire corridor. So this is separate and distinct from the other project that we hope to get into construction this summer. And because it is obviously over $250,000, once we get the design done, get final project budget, we will be taking that in front of this body and the city council for approval.
And then Southeast California to I-70 to 10th Avenue. So that's that big stretch there, correct?
That is correct, ma'am.
Okay. I know we've been waiting for years. for that intersection at 6th and Golden. It's even worse now. You know that.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I'm just trying to keep it in my mind so I can explain it to my constituents. Okay. Are there any questions?
Just a quick one.
Sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Braxton, what's the status of our half-cent sales tax fund at this point? Is it getting down to something reasonable?
We are, yes, sir, I cannot tell you the actual balance right off the top of my head. I'll get that from finance and shoot you an email. But yes, as this body is aware, when I stepped in as the Public Works Director, we had a surplus of more than $17 million sitting in that citywide half-cent sales tax fund. We have strategized and have increased funding. For example, street contract maintenance, we kicked that up from $2 million to $1 million as part of a strategy to spend down those dollars. We also did that additional $5 million of mill and overlay work over the 23-24 season. With our goal is when this particular sales tax comes up for renewal, that we will be down to a reasonable amount of, say, $1 million to $2 million in terms of what's in that fund.
Thank you, Braxton.
Good
Thank you.
question.
I will move approval.
Second, all those in favor, raise your right hand. 4G, crack ceiling.
Madam Chair, this also is part of our 2025 Street Contract Preventive Maintenance Program, funded by the half-cent sales tax. Just like our microsurfacing area, this is a crack ceiling that would be in advance of microsurfacing in the southwest quadrant of the city. There's a base bid and 2 alternates.
Okay. Are there any questions?
No questions, move approval.
Second, all those in favor, raise your right hand. 2-0. Okay, H.
Madam Chair, the last 2 items are related. The first item is Bridge Maintenance Program Project Amendment. The Bridge Maintenance Program addresses a deterioration of approximately 101 city bridges with spans of 20 feet or more. This amendment is based on following the 2023 inspections. Some issues were discovered with the Branner Bridge. Design on this project started in 2023, but was put on hold last year until the River Road project was completed. This amendment is for the proposed Banner Bridge improvements, which will be the next item on the agenda.
Okay. So that's the Branner Bridge going over
To Oakland.
to Oakland,
Yep.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because
Over
we
by-
got,
Over by Midway Wholesale.
okay, you just lost me now. So I'm at 6th and Branner. Is it that bridge to the
Going
north?
Going north.
Going north.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's not the other one that was by the motor power building, right? We got 2 Branner
That's-
bridges.
The other one by Motive Power, that's Branner Bridge.
Yep, it's north of 6th, up by 3rd.
Are you with me, Neil? Which bridge is it? Is it the smaller bridge
Mark?
over the creek, or is it the bigger bridge?
Bigger one.
There's 2 bridges there.
Yeah.
There's E12B,
Can you speak in the microphone, please? I'm sorry.
there's 2 bridges there. E12B goes over Second, and then E12A goes over the railroad. And it's both of those.
So it's both bridges?
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
So it starts at Third, goes all the way across to
Yeah.
Atchison.
yeah, okay. So that will be closed down then?
Full closure.
Full
Full
closure.
closure? When they redo it,
We haven't worked on that one, and this is expansion joint replacement. It's got to be done on Branner, because that's what's caused that Pier 5 leak that we had to go in and fix a couple of years ago. We had a pier cap that failed. So that's why we've got to replace all those. And then all the panels prior are approach pavements. So
wow, okay. Much needed project,
yes,
much needed project.
yes.
Any questions?
No questions, move approval.
Second? All those in favor, raise your right hand. 2-0. Thank you. Four I.
Madam Chair, this is our last item for this meeting, and this is to do the actual bridge repairs that we just amended the bridge maintenance problem to complete. As Mark said, it's expansion joints, approach panels. It's much needed work to extend the life of this bridge.
It is.
Yes.
It's older than me. I used to walk over that bridge, so it's probably at its moments. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any questions?
No questions, move approval.
All those in favor? Or I'll second it. All those in favor, 2-0. And I believe we have Polk-Quincy-Viaduct update by Director Davis. Is that correct? I don't know how I didn't get that up. Oh, okay, I better turn it over.
Good morning. I am simply here this morning to champion the efforts of our team and all of the staff that have worked so hard on the Polk-Quincy utility relocation project that you guys have been experiencing and living through and hearing all about for the last year and a half at this point. As a quick update and reminder, the total project really kicked off in October of 2023. That's when our first of 6 projects started construction, and over the last year and a half or so, we have almost completed all of those projects to impact over 7,000 feet of sanitary sewer, almost 3,000 feet of storm sewer, over 6,000 feet of water line, and really impacting almost 13,000 feet of pavement, yards of pavement. So it's a lot of work. Many of you, especially Councilwoman Hofer, have experienced a lot of impacts of this effort. But I wanted to really highlight the fact that projects 2 and 7 were done as of 2024. So we completed both of those projects on time and under budget. Projects 3, 4, and 6 were completed this month, early January of 2025, at or very close to being on schedule for those. And we're still working on the closeout tasks, but we are at or just below budget for those 3 projects as well. So the remaining project 5 is still ongoing. We have some curb gutters, sidewalk work still to do on Kansas Avenue. That's our primary focus so that we can get out of there, and KDOT, as most of you know now, are moving in to start their work. So we need to be out of there. That pavement work needs to be completed by February 10th. So folks are working hard to get that done. We did open traffic on Kansas Avenue. However, that has already been impacted by KDOT's work as they've started some storm sewer installation. So we're working through some coordination efforts there. And then we still have 3rd Street closed for the sanitary sewer work that is finishing up. We still have maybe between 5 and 8 weeks left before we can say that we're completely done with all of those projects. So before I open it for questions, I really wanted to say special thanks to a lot of people here. First of all, you folks, the community, for all the patience that they've displayed through this process. It started as a project that was slated to be almost $50 million, and a time frame that was not going to be able to be accomplished by the time KDOT needed us to do that. And through those coordination efforts and the effort of the project management team and staff and our consultants, we were able to cut that time frame down and get that budget down in half, really. So we're still looking good budget-wise, and making our $20 million match, but really not going much farther over that. So that's huge news, something I think a lot of people didn't think would be able to be done. So I'm very proud of the team for that. There's been a lot of coordinating efforts, again, between our consultants, our project management team, engineering, and all the traffic work that has been done with this, internal staff, our communications team for helping us roll out different social media updates and keeping our website up to date. And I really don't want to embarrass anybody, but I'm hoping Michelle Nicewinder will stand up for everyone. I want to give special recognition to her because she's really been the key to making this all happen. She's been our project manager. She's done an outstanding job, very quiet behind the scenes, but really in the trenches working with all of those folks and trying to get this stuff done on time, under budget, pushing people when they need to be pushed. And we're very, very proud of her. So with that, that's a very quick update, but again, we're here open for questions. Brian Armstrong from Bartlett and West is also here to take any questions. I know there's been a recent press release out there talking about KDOT's work that's starting very, very soon. But anyway, wanted to talk about the city work that is almost near completion. We still have another month left, but we're getting there, so.
Okay, are there any questions? Comments? Michelle, Councilman Pulford?
I'm thrilled that we're finally getting through that, but unfortunately, it means that more roads are going to be torn up, more areas cut off, and it's going to be a pain in the neck to get to where we are. This is kind of an off comment, but there's a new sign on 70, and it says, vehicles over 26,000 GKW prohibited from exiting onto First Street. We needed that when we were doing the Third Street project. Are we not allowed to put a sign like that on 70? Is it only KDOT that can do that?
Yes, ma'am. So that sign is a direct result of our conversations with KDOT in terms of trying to limit the impact on that residential neighborhood, particularly as they close the Boulevard Bridge. And so in our discussions with them, we explained that the city council has passed an ordinance which established truck routes and also gave us the ability to enforce. But to enforce, we need to give notice to the drivers. And so after having that conversation and knowing just how disruptive and potentially dangerous it could be with the closure of the boulevard, if a semi-truck were to get off on First Street and were to try to go down First and then Harrison and make that turn, that's why we had that conversation. And KDOT, to its credit, did go ahead and post that sign. But you're right, the KDOT right-of-way is the sole jurisdiction of KDOT. We as the city don't have the authority to post signs in that.
Okay. It would have been nice if we could have, and we wouldn't have had the semis going through Potland and going around the circles there and causing all those problems we had. But I didn't know what the restrictions were on that. I'm disappointed in the coordination of communication because last week we got or maybe it was week before, I noticed we weren't going to close Topeka Boulevard Bridge until the 1st of March. And yesterday it came out, they're closing it on the 10th of February. There's a lot of people have no idea this is coming. And I don't know if we've got any coordination for street signs for detours yet, but there's going to be a lot of upset people because they're caught in traffic on Topeka Boulevard, on Kansas Avenue. They're going to be cutting through all sorts of streets in North Topeka. They're going to cut through streets. I'm going to have people coming down Crane and turning on to Jackson, Van Buren, and Harrison and find they're cut off and they can't get to where they're going. And that even goes to, and it's something you wouldn't probably know about since you don't see it on a regular basis. Funerals coming from the churches in Oakland have always cut down Crane to Harrison and then jumped on 70. They probably have no idea that's coming next. That would be highly upsetting if you're in a funeral procession, you're starting down Crane thinking you're going straight to the cemetery, and then all of a sudden, bam, you can't get there. Dead end. And nobody wants to be put in that position. It's embarrassing for the funeral company. It's upsetting to the people who are there for the funeral. We really need to get the word out. And I know it's a KDOT project, but people they're going to come back to and get upset with are us. The city's the one that's going to take the questions, the screaming, whatever. It won't be KDOT. They won't even think to call KDOT. They'll call us. So we need to be prepared for those comments and how we're going to answer them. I'm going to a meeting next week over in Noto to kind of explain what's coming up. And it would be nice if somebody could go with me and explain to them what's happening with the streets that are coming, because I'm sorry, if I moved over to Kansas Avenue and I come across the bridge, I know my way. But I'm going to cut across Gordon to get on Topeka Boulevard to get on 70. And that cuts right through the heart of Noto. They're going to get traffic there. I know the detour, I'm sure, is going to go up to Morse. But there'll be people cutting off on Laurent, going right through the middle of it. There may be people coming off on the flyover. It's going to be a mess until people really figure out what's going on. And they need that direction so they can tell people what to do. I'm sure my neighborhood, I'm going to have people roaming around going, how do I get here from there? We've already had that the past year. And it's one thing if you're in a car, it's another thing if you're in a semi. So we need to do a real good job of signing, and we need to get out in front of this with the public so they know what's going on. I know it's not totally our responsibility, but I don't see the contractor doing it, contractors, and I don't see KDOT doing it. So if there's any way to get out and visit, and it includes the companies. I mean, I don't know what TPD knows, TFD knows, Hills, UPS. UPS sends out at least 30 trucks onto First Street to head to different parts of town at 9 a.m. every morning. And those guys won't be able to get where they're going. They need to have some direction. Ameripride, they have all of their trucks going out. There's a lot of businesses down in this area that really need some direction and notice that this is happening. A story on WIBW is not going to hit everybody, or 27, or in the paper. We need to do some proactive. I've gone to a few businesses, so they know. But they're going to have to get an updated version. So whatever we can do, I'd appreciate it. I probably won't hear it as much as Councilwoman Hiller, because it's her district, and possibly Christina Valdivia-Acklid, that's North Topeka's her district. But I will hear from the businesses I know, and there's already one with the cutoff of First Street. Their only access to their building is on First Street. We've already gone through this with Topeka Boulevard Bridge. That was a mess. And they cut them off from their front door. They couldn't get their customers into the business. That's not good. You're killing a business. And I don't know whose business this is all going to hurt, but it's going to hurt a lot of businesses with their traffic. So please, can we do something to get out there in front of it and help everybody know what's happening? I'd really appreciate it. I'm going to struggle with it. So I know we're going to talk about it Tuesday night too, but at Tuesday night, they've already started doing the first work on the on-ramp, and we're less than a week to the 10th when they shut off First Street and they really start making the big changes. So the more time they have, I know it's Friday, but the more time they have, it will help. That's all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman Holford. That's very, very important.
Recording stopped.
That is very, very important, and more people use it than just in those two districts. I'm going through there all the time to get stuff from the cleaners, taking my grandson to his job, blah, 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 but, so, point well taken. Is there anything else anybody wanted to add on that specific subject? Okay. If not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle back to the minutes. I'll take a motion for the floor.
So move.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll second it. All those in favor? Right hand. 2-0. I would also,
Madam Chair.
yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So the only item we have left is elect committee chair, is that correct? I would make a motion to table that item until the next committee meeting.
Okay, and that's what I was getting ready to bring that out.
All right, great.
Okay. But we can do that. We will table that until the next meeting. Is there anything else to come before this committee? Is there any comments? Steve, welcome aboard. And please forgive me, I'm used to calling on Braxton and getting that, so nothing, I hope you didn't take that personally, but, okay. Just say, hey, I'm right here, I can do that. I'm just used to banging out those answers on Braxton, but welcome on board. Did you have
Thank you.
something you wanted to add?
No, it was, thanks for having me, and looking forward to working with the committee and with the governing board.
Okay. City manager,
No, ma'am, thank you.
Braxton,
No, ma'am, nothing further.
council members?
All good.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Who was that? Oh, I'm so sorry, Councilman Miller. Did you have it?
No worries, Sheriff. I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good meeting.
Okay. If not, again, thank you to our street department and our team. And we got a little bit of more winter, so hopefully, we've already had the worst part, so we'll get through it. If not, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you. I was just going to ask you how you wanted to do that. You know, it's like.